You know what I don't miss at all? That brutal week before my period when I'm exhausted and all I want is sweets. All of them. I'm talking chocolate, cookies, chips, basically anything with sugar or salt. It's like my body takes over and I can't stop. That's when I found Happy Mammoth. It's so much easier to manage PMS with their estro control. Happy Mammoth is the company that created Hormone Harmony, and they're dedicated to making women's lives easier. That means using only science-backed ingredients that have been proven to work for women. They make no compromise when it comes to quality, and honestly, it shows. The biggest benefit to Hormone Harmony is really feeling like myself again. That's what women mention over and over in their reviews. And there are literally over 17,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code DIARIES at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use the code DIARIES for 15% off today. A special thanks to Happy Mammoth for sponsoring today's episode.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
If you want to listen ad-free and get access to all 4 of our journal entry episodes, then make sure you subscribe either on Apple Podcasts or head over to patreon.com/themurderdiariespod. It's only $2.99 a month. And again, you get to listen ad-free and you get access to all 4 journal entries episodes.
Welcome to the Murder Diaries. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Paige.
If you had to guess, what would you say is the leading cause of death for young women ages 15 to 24 in Mexico? The answer isn't heart disease, suicide, or even cancer. It's murder. Homicide is the leading cause of death for Mexican women. To compare and provide some perspective, in the United States, the leading causes of death for women in that same age group is unintentional injuries such as overdoses, vehicle crashes, or falls, followed then by suicide and cancer, according to 2018 data from the CDC. Homicide ranks 3rd on the list for women ages 1 through 19 and 5th on the list for women 20 to 44 years old. Life is statistically much more dangerous for women living in Mexico. According to official data from the Mexican government, 10 women are killed in the country every day. In 2021 alone, more than 45% of women reported feeling unsafe in their own neighborhoods. And what's more shocking is how little attention these cases get from authorities or the media. And even if they do receive significant attention, like the case we're talking about today, the investigations are rarely timely or competent. There's an eerie photo of a young woman standing alone on the edge of a dark, deserted highway that has come to symbolize this growing crisis in Mexico, the disappearance and murder of women. The woman in the photo is wearing a black face mask. She's looking away from the camera. Lights from the passing cars illuminate her long brown skirt as it blows in the breeze behind her. If you saw the photo, you'd probably recognize it. News outlets from around the world shared it nearly 1 year ago from the airing of this episode. The image is haunting for so many reasons, but mainly because the woman has no idea that she only has a few more hours, maybe days, to live. It's a photo that is worth much more than 1,000 words. It sparked a fire amongst women and activists living in a seemingly lawless country where women's disappearances and murders are often downplayed or ignored altogether. This woman had a bright future ahead of her, and yet, like thousands of others, her life was cut short. But because of this photo, her case is providing hope and solace to a nation of women living in fear. Her name is Debanhi Escobar. This is her story.
Hola amigos, ¿cómo están? Mi nombre es Debanhi.
Used to think it's in my head, but I'm walking with the dead.
Debanhi Susana Escobar Baldua was born in northern Mexico in the state of Nuevo León. It's about 2.5 hours south of the Texas border. She grew up in Monterrey, the second largest metropolitan area in Mexico and one of the wealthiest in the country, with parents Mario Escobar and Dolores Baldua. And when it came time to further her education, she didn't move far away. In the spring of 2022, 18-year-old Debanhi was a law student at the University of Nuevo León. It's clear she had a strong conscience and a kind heart as well as a passion for activism. A few weeks before her death, she joined thousands of women protesting against gender violence. Her father said she attended the feminist march because she always wanted to help people.
Tragically, the justice she was seeking is the same justice that her family is fighting for her today.
On Friday, April 8th, 2022, Debanhi met up with 2 other women at a house party in the Nueva Castilla neighborhood in northern Monterrey, not far from where she grew up or attended university. We'll call the 2 women she met up with at the party acquaintances and not friends of Debanhi's because reports differ on how close these women knew Debanhi, and we don't want to speculate. At some point during the party, Debanhi allegedly got into an argument with one of the acquaintances. It's unclear what their argument was about, but Debanhi's behavior allegedly became uncharacteristically erratic, and she locked herself in the men's bathroom. Around 1:20 in the morning on Saturday, April 9th, the woman called whom they called a trusted contact to pick her up and drive her home. Some reports say that it was a taxi driver and others say it was a DD driver from a ride-sharing service. Regardless, multiple reports say this was a driver hired to take Debanhi home. The 2 women then left Debanhi alone at the party, and the driver Juan David Cuellar, known as Jesus, picked her up. Authorities released a video from the party where Debanhi was at around 3 in the morning. Street security camera footage shows Debanhi running away from a man who caught up with her and grabbed her before a group of men surround her. That's when a white car approaches, allegedly driven by Cuellar, and Debanhi gets in the back seat. A man then talks briefly with the driver before the car drives away with Debanhi in the back seat. A short time later, security footage shows what appears to be the driver and Debanhi arguing in the car. According to the driver's explanation, he was trying to get her home address or a guardian's phone number, but she was allegedly angry and refused to give these details. According to Debanhi's father, other nearby security footage suggested the driver inappropriately touched his daughter. He said he supposed his daughter didn't put up with the harassment and got out of the car. We'll never know exactly what happened in the vehicle. But around 5 a.m. on Saturday morning, Debanhi got out of the car on a highway that connects Monterrey to a town further north. That's when the driver reportedly took that viral photo of her standing alone on Highway 85. The driver sent the photo to Debanhi's acquaintances from the party as proof that she was alive when he dropped her off. She was wearing a white tank top, a long brown skirt, black Converse, and a black face mask. The chilling photo, snapped in a second, would soon garner international attention. At the same time, security cameras from a nearby hotel captured footage of a young woman, Debanhi, getting out of a taxi. She is then seen walking to the side of a trucking company, Alcosa Transports Internationals. Her father believes she likely went there to ask for help. Later, security camera footage shows her walking toward the Nueva Castilla motel. A glimpse of her looking through a restaurant window is the last image of her alive. After hours of trying to get home safely, Debanhi never made it. Her father, Mario, reported her missing on Saturday, April 9th, when she didn't return home. Unlike thousands of similar cases, Debanhi's disappearance made headlines due to that photo of her standing alone on the highway, serving as visual evidence of her location that night. The media attention sparked an unusually special operation by the Nuevo León State Attorney General's office. Over the course of nearly 2 weeks, the authorities used 200 personnel, search dogs, and drones to find any trace of Debanhi. And in that time span, they found 5 other bodies of women who had been reported missing, but not Debanhi. Investigators visited the Nueva Castilla motel, the last place she was seen alive, 4 times, but never found Debanhi. After 13 days of searching, motel employees reported a fetid smell. Investigators returned to the Nueva Castilla Motel for a fifth time on the evening of Thursday, April 22nd, to find Debanhi's corpse in the motel's underground water cistern or water storing tank. It's located about a block and a half south of the transportation company and about a 1-minute walk from where she was last seen alive. Because her body had been submerged for nearly 2 weeks, her body was unrecognizable. She was identified by a cross necklace she was wearing as well as her clothing until DNA testing confirmed it was in fact Debanhi. But we've heard there was security camera footage of Debanhi walking into the motel. So you're probably wondering, why couldn't investigators have used that to help trace her last steps? Nuevo Leon prosecutor Gustavo Adolfo Guerrero reportedly told the Mexican newspaper Milenio that the hotel's security cameras didn't record footage and were only used for monitoring purposes.
That may have been true, but it turns out there was video taken that night that wasn't uncovered until months later. But we'll get to that in a few minutes.
This episode is sponsored in part thanks to our friends over at Cozy Earth. Are you ready for a 5-star sleep experience right at home? I know Tim and I are. And ever since we got our Cozy Earth sheets, it's been a night after night of restful sleep. We love them. And I am a big linen girl. These are my favorite sheets. I constantly have to rewash them so I can get them back on the bed. Cozy Earth's bamboo sheets are ultra soft, they're temperature regulating, and sustainably crafted for your ultimate comfort. They're perfect for those chilly nights. They adjust to your body's needs and keep you cozy without overheating, which is a big deal in my house. They're made with eco-friendly materials, and these sheets really do bring luxury to your bedroom because you deserve to sleep in comfort and style night after night. Cozy Earth, it's where luxury meets sustainability. Get 40% off your purchase at cozyearth.com/diaries or use code DIARIES when you check out. If you see a post-purchase survey, let them know you heard about it right here on The Murder Diaries. Don't wait. Comfort like this is calling your name. Stay cozy all winter long with Cozy Earth.
The best piece of money advice I ever got was simple. Practice saving instead of spending. I know it sounds basic, but trust me, it really hit home. Just a few bucks for my paycheck tucked away for a rainy day. And at first it seemed like a tiny step. But then I realized how much that little habit had the potential to grow over time. It clicked that saving and investing aren't just about building a cushion for emergencies. They're about setting yourself up for a stronger future. That's why I love Acorns. It makes saving and investing feel so effortless, kind of like how that small savings habit started. Over time, those small contributions add up and gives your money the chance to grow. It's one of the best ways to build on a simple habit and let time do the heavy lifting for you. Today's episode is sponsored by Acorns. Acorns is a financial wellness app that makes it easy to start saving and investing for your future. You don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that matches you and your money goals. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now, even if all you've got is spare change. I sincerely believe Acorns is a game changer because it makes investing easy and accessible for anyone, even if you're just starting with spare change. For me, it turned a small habit of saving into a bigger strategy for the future, giving my money a chance to grow without me having to think about it, just like that first step of putting a few bucks away. Sign up now and join the over 13 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $22 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/diaries or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid non-client endorsement compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorn Advisors LLC and SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/diaries. This episode is sponsored in part by our friends over at Sonobello. Genetics can be truly amazing. Maybe you inherited your mom's beautiful eyes, her radiant skin, or a smile that lights up the room. But sometimes, not always, but sometimes, we inherit traits that we wish we could change, like those areas of our body that just don't feel like us. It's not uncommon to catch yourself thinking, I got my mom's belly and love handles. But remember, genetics don't have to define your confidence. You deserve to feel great in your own skin, and that includes loving the way you look. Don't let genetics hold you back. Explore the permanent solutions at Sonobello and take the first step toward the body that you've always wanted. Our friends over at Sonobello are offering you their literal best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event. But appointments are limited, so if you want this, you need to get on this now. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal. It's this brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. That's right, permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, whether it's your tummy, love handles, thighs, even your arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Yes, eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that. But if you want to lose that stubborn fat in just one visit, check out Sono Bello. You can save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/diaries. That's Sono Bello, BELLO.com/diaries. Let's be real. Losing weight can feel like a huge challenge. That's why Hers is making it easier. With access to GLP-1 medications and personalized expert support, they're helping you take control and make your goals feel within reach. Hers is changing the way women approach healthcare by offering affordable, personalized weight loss treatments delivered right to your door, if prescribed. Their holistic weight loss program includes options like compounded GLP-1 weekly injections, which is the same active ingredient found in Ozempic and Wegovy, or oral medication kits tailored to fit your unique needs. Getting started is simple. Just fill out an online intake form and a licensed medical provider will create a plan that works for you. If prescribed, your program will include medication, ongoing care, and online support, all at one affordable price with no hidden or membership fees. With plans starting at just $165 per month for compounded GLP-1 injections on a 12-month plan, Hers makes it easier to access the treatment you need. So if you've been struggling with your weight loss journey, Hers is here to help you find a solution that works for you. Start your initial free online visit today at forhers.com/diaries. That's FORHERS.com/diaries for your personalized weight loss treatment options. For hers.com/diaries. Hers weight loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions apply. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded. Actual price depends on product and plan purchased.
We off? 30 seconds of carefree bliss. Oof, like wind in your hair carefree. Oh, like using Clorox disinfecting all-purpose cleaner in the home carefree. Yes! Like Doc slobbing on the coffee table and cleaning it with Clorox Carefree? He's on a roll now. Spit toothpaste on the faucet. You got it. You got it. Peanut butter on the light switch. Oh, spritz, spritz. Spritz, spritz. Clorox, man. Clean feels good.
Okay, we're back. Use as directed.
After the special operation investigators located Debanhi's body and DNA testing confirmed it was her, the Attorney General's office autopsy concluded that she had accidentally fallen into the 12-foot water tank near the motel pool, hit her head, and drowned. The Escobar family called this theory a lie. Her father, Mario, disputed the original autopsy report, arguing that his daughter had been beaten and strangled. He had a second autopsy conducted. The second autopsy revealed sexual and physical abuse had occurred prior to Debanhi's death. This time, the cause of her death was ruled as a deep cranial contusion. In an interview with Reforma newspaper, the state prosecutor said Debanhi was dead before her body was dumped into the cistern. Then, a week later, the same prosecutor told reporters that Debanhi may have been alive when she fell into the tank. Debanhi's grieving parents demanded justice for their daughter while standing outside the Nueva Castilla motel a day after her body was discovered. Mario told the media that he publicly accused Juan David Cuellar for all of this, the taxi driver who put his daughter in this dangerous position. Mario, who was clearly disappointed and frustrated with the lack of government's handling of his daughter's case, also went so far as to accuse the Nuevo Leon prosecutor of planting his daughter's body in the cistern, according to the Spanish-language newspaper El Universal. Mario also publicly denounced the authorities who led the investigation, saying, quote, "For believing in the prosecutor's office, I apologize to my family. It was many days and the prosecutor's office didn't do its job correctly. My daughter is dead and I don't know what to do. I'm upset because I was wrong. I believe in the prosecutor's office." Debanhi's parents said that the prosecutor's office made sure there was no crime to prosecute, despite evidence that the taxi driver tried to abuse their daughter. 3 months later, on July 18th, a third autopsy report determined a different conclusion to Debanhi's death. It concluded that she died of asphyxia by obstruction of respiratory orifices. The Escobar family and the federal government requested the independent investigation in an attempt to clear confusion surrounding her death. The report didn't specify what blocked her nose and mouth to cause her death. It did, however, determine that she died between 3 to 5 days before her body was found in the motel's water tank and showed no signs of sexual violence, according to the head of Mexico City's forensic service. He spoke at a joint press conference attended by the independent forensics as well as state authorities and federal experts. Debanhi's father commented on the third autopsy report saying, quote, "We can now say this is a femicide. My daughter was a person that wanted to live. She was even using her face mask that night."
Critics point out that it's disturbing. Even when a case like this sparks public outcry, then investigations are rarely efficient. There are many aspects of this case that are still unexplained, and the differing autopsy conclusions don't clarify any details. What caused Debanhi's alleged erratic behavior the night that she disappeared? Reports say that there are possibilities that she was intoxicated and potentially voluntarily or involuntarily took drugs. And was the initial autopsy incorrect due to incompetence or corruption? It wouldn't be out of the question for a murder to be covered up in order to protect the perpetrator or to downplay a case that could spark outrage.
Tragically, Debanhi's case is one of thousands of similar cases. Femicide is a term defined as a hate crime with the intention of killing women or girls because they're female. But definitions vary depending on the cultural context. Mexico reported more than 1,000 femicides in 2021. That's the second highest number of femicides in Latin America after Brazil. Like we said earlier, 10 women or girls are killed daily in Mexico. Government officials have acknowledged the femicide rate and violence against women as a major problem, but have yet to make any progress to slow or stop it per national data. During the special operations search for Debanhi, we said investigators found the bodies of 5 other women reported missing in the past 4 months in different places around Nuevo León. Debanhi was the 20th woman to be reported missing in only 4 weeks in the state.
We don't know if this has anything to do with Debanhi's case, but we should mention that Nuevo León has been a host to a bloody war between rival drug cartels. This violence mostly kills men, but in 2021, the number of femicides increased as murders of men fell slightly.
Experts say the rampant killings of women in Mexico can be traced back to deep-rooted cultural machismo, systematic gender inequality, and domestic violence. Not to mention a problematic justice system with police officers who won't take reports about missing women, clumsy investigations, and prosecutors and judges who re-victimize women. In Debanhi's case, the government's initial autopsy, concluding that she accidentally fell into the water tank, stating that it was her fault and effectively putting the blame on Debanhi, is something common in femicide cases. During a news conference shortly after Debanhi's body was found, the president of Mexico, President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, downplayed the case by saying the discovery, quote, shouldn't worry Mexicans because it, quote, happens everywhere. He continued saying, "I want to send a hug and my condolences to the young woman's family. These sad things are happening everywhere in almost every state." The president is correct. It is happening everywhere. More recently, in October of 2022, a 27-year-old woman named Ariadna Lopez was found dead on the side of the highway in the Mexican state of Morelos. Local investigators initially declared there were no signs of violence. They claimed she died of asphyxiation as a result of alcohol intoxication. Lopez's family, similar to Debanhi's, quickly disputed these conclusions, pointing to evidence of bruises all over her body. So officials in Mexico City conducted a second autopsy, and it revealed that her body showed blunt force trauma injuries, and as a result concluded multiple trauma as the cause of her death. According to government data, more than 5,600 women were murdered in Mexico in the first 9 months of 2022. That's an average of 20 per day. Half of the murders are presumed manslaughter and a third are presumed murder. Only 12% of these are reported as femicide, which, if convicted, is a much more serious charge that could result in up to 70 years in prison. A researcher at a university in Mexico City specializing in gender violence told a publication that these long prison sentences for femicide don't help when murders go unreported and aren't investigated properly. Government data shows that for every 100 women killed in Mexico, only 4 result in sentences. Shortly after Debanhi's body was found, the governor of Nuevo León, Samuel Garcia, addressed the issues surrounding deficiencies in the investigation in a Facebook post. He said, quote, "We are working very hard to address the causes of this problem, and I will be very clear. To the rapists and to those who commit femicide, and all of those who hurt the women of Nuevo León, Know that we will find them and we will punish them to the fullest extent of the law. He also went on to vow to increase funding and resources to help address gender violence in Nuevo León.
Although the reported number of women murdered sounds like a lot, the actual number is likely much higher. Last year, nearly 100,000 people were reported missing. Families do not report these cases because they're afraid or because authorities are simply not listening to them.
And their concerns are valid. The head of the National Commission for the Search of Disappeared People pointed out several missteps by the prosecutor's office in Debanhi's case. One of them included the failure to inform Debanhi's parents that a body had even been discovered. Mario Escobar and Dolores Basaldúa found out about it on the news. They were also denied access to their daughter's remains and were only provided with photos. In Debanhi's case, the special operations team's negligence did result in some correcting of a wrong. Nuevo León's general attorney announced that 2 investigators were fired after finding details that suggested deficiencies in the investigation. Debanhi's parents had raised concerns after authorities used more than 200 officers, drones, and search dogs to search the motel 4 times and came up with nothing. Mario Escobar said during a press conference, "They searched the motel 4 times and only on the 5th time they found the body of my daughter. How is that even possible?" As we mentioned earlier, female murder victims in Mexico are oftentimes blamed for their own deaths. In Debanhi's case specifically, the driver and the 2 girls last seen with her at the party reportedly brought attention to Debanhi's behavior that night. Activists, along with the Escobar family, argue that the 3 of them were part of an orchestrated shame campaign after the 2 girls said she was acting crazy the night of the party. As for Debanhi's driver, Juan David Cuellar, he told Mexican television that he only tried to help, but that she was drunk or something. He continued saying, "I asked her friends what she drank that night or if they gave her something else because her words didn't make any sense. The authorities reviewed my case and haven't found anything against me." Meanwhile, Debanhi's father, Mario Escobar, has accused Cuellar of sexually abusing his daughter. After he said he reviewed security footage taken from the road Cuellar took before dropping her off on the highway. Mario told local press the driver reached out to grab my daughter's breast and she couldn't take the assault. But the Attorney General's office said there is nothing to prosecute. A few hours after the driver's interview, the 2 girls said during another interview that Debanhi was acting crazy and she even attacked us. A representative from a nonprofit that works with families of missing people responded to both interviews, saying this is a strategy orchestrated by the government to change public opinion around Debanhi's case. Claudia Muñoz of this nonprofit told Vice World News that it was an attempt by the government to reduce public sympathy for Debanhi.
It's warming up here in Southern California as spring arises, so deodorant is definitely not being skipped. Honestly, in Southern California, there's probably not very many days that you could or would want to skip deodorant, but that's why we're so excited to partner with Lumi for this episode. What was really cool and surprised me most when we started working with Lumi was the different formulas they have for their deodorants. For me, I have psoriasis, so sometimes deodorant can pull or be a little uncomfortable, but that's not the case with Lumi because they have your traditional stick, they have cream, and they have a spray formula. On top of that, their deodorants are safe to use anywhere on your body. So you can use them in your armpits, thigh folds, wherever you feel like you need a little bit of odor support. I also love that Lumi was created by an OBGYN who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. Their products are clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. All products are baking soda free and paraben free, as well as pH balanced and safe to use below the waist. They offer a variety of fresh, bright scents like clean tangerine, lavender sage, perfect for spring, and toasted coconut. Who doesn't want that for their summer scent? Join us in trying America's #1 whole body deodorant formula right now. You can find them in Walmart, Target, and other retailers across the country. But for the best deals, head to LumiDeodorant.com. Lumi Starter Pack is a perfect option for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash or deodorant wipes, and free shipping. Who doesn't love that? As a special offer for Murder Diaries listeners, you can get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine that 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equals over 40% off their starter pack. Use code DIARIES for 50% off your first purchase at LumiDeodorant.com. That's code DIARIES at LumiDeodorant.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Lumi.
This episode is brought to you by Greenlight. Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
Good night, itchy eyes. Good night, sudden sneeze. Good night to your symptoms of allergies. Zysol is the allergy medicine you take before bed. It provides powerful relief while you rest your head. Not just all night, but all the next day. Zysol keeps working, keeping allergies at bay. And without those annoying symptoms disturbing your rest, you can wake up the next morning feeling your absolute best. Remember, be wise all. Take Zysol. At night.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place. For changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
TaxAct knows small business owners can sometimes use a little help with their taxes. That's why TaxAct has Expert Assist, a team of live tax experts ready to answer any questions you may have. Think of them as your own personal sidekick. Not like one of those funny talking animal sidekicks, more like the super smart nerding out on tax code and business casual attire sidekick, but just as helpful and lovable. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
There's no doubt that women all across Mexico have had enough. Debanhi's case brought years of pent-up anger to a boiling point.
Just as Debanhi did just weeks before her tragic death, hundreds of women poured into the streets of downtown Mexico City, nearly 12 hours south of Monterrey, to protest and show solidarity. The demonstrators held signs that read, "No to harassment," and "Mexico is a mass grave." Some protesters even shouted, "The police don't take care of me, my friends take care of me," while others said, "Debanhi, sister, here is your herd." Protesters in Monterrey shut down traffic and held up the missing person flyers with Debanhi's photo that were shared and distributed during the search. The march was mostly peaceful, unlike previous demonstrations from other years. The protesters didn't spray paint slogans on a tall stone monument known as the Angel that marks Mexico's independence like they had in the past. Instead of spray paint, they taped missing posters on it. Each poster described the disappearance of different women. Many of them showed Debanhi. Debanhi's body was driven about 3 hours south of Monterrey to her mother's hometown of Galeana. Dozens of people stood alongside the road, holding signs and white balloons to show their respect. A mass was held in a yellow church followed by a procession to a local cemetery. After Debanhi's coffin was lowered into a grave and dozens of flowers placed on top, women in the crowd began to sing. As protests continued in the streets all across Mexico and in Debanhi's hometown of Monterrey, the 47-year-old driver, Juan David Cuellar, was arrested, but then released by authorities. According to the Mexican newspaper Milenio, a journalist gained exclusive images that allegedly showed Cuellar reaching toward Debanhi's chest after she got in the backseat of his car. Cuellar reportedly told police that she got out of the car after a confrontation between them, but no further details are really known. Debanhi's father says Cuellar is the one responsible for his daughter's tragic death. He argues that he put her in danger by trying to abuse her. Authorities also face backlash from the public for failing to focus more on the driver. Cuellar has a long criminal history, including an arrest on drug-related charges just a week prior to his fateful drive with Debanhi. Other reports claim that he had previously been investigated for harassment and attempted kidnapping of women. Although he was questioned in Debanhi's case, he was not accused of being related to her disappearance or death. Mario Escobar also added that some security footage from the transportation company where Debanhi was seen shortly after exiting the vehicle has disappeared. In a statement on its website, over a week into the search for Debanhi, the company's legal representative said that they were cooperating with the search and investigation. The transportation company's statement said, Alcosa has provided the authorities with surveillance videos it has, lists of personnel who have already been interviewed by the authorities, and all information and support it has required. The only relationship of our company with the unfortunate case is its physical location, because it is very close to the last place where the missing young woman was seen.
Remember how the prosecutor said there was no security footage from the motel where Debanhi was last seen? That turned out to be false.
Recently, the Escobar family has had some sense of justice. As of January 2023, 2 women are facing charges in Debanhi's case. They include former employees of the Nueva Castilla Motel, Ana Luisa and Alida Urith. Ana Luisa was a manager at the hotel, while Alida Urith worked at the front desk. They caught the investigators' attention after telling them there was no video footage that showed Debanhi at the motel. Nuevo Leon authorities searched the motel and both women's homes. They took their cell phones, USB flash drives, and a laptop, which had videos saved on it. As a result, a judge has ordered them to stand trial on charges of concealment and making false declarations to authorities. Mario Escobar has called this a breakthrough, but argues it should have happened months ago. But the videos found could shed new light on Debanhi's case. Mario says he's confident authorities will gather more evidence as they investigate the videos, potentially identifying more suspects and hold them accountable. In the meantime, the 2 former motel employees will be the first suspects to stand trial in connection with Debanhi's death. So what's next? Last April, during the search for Debanhi, a United Nations committee released a report urging Mexico to take action about the growing number of disappearances. The report stated that only 2 to 6% of missing cases have resulted in a prosecution as of 2021. It reiterated that the lack of punishment supports the continuous cover-ups of these disappearances. The UN called for Mexico to strengthen its investigation process and to implement a national policy to prevent disappearances. That, however, doesn't have any immediate impact on the thousands of families waiting for answers. In Debanhi's case, there still remain more questions than answers. That haunting photo of Debanhi standing alone in the middle of the road made headlines around the world. It prompted a 200-person special operation and put a spotlight on missing women's cases and the femicide crisis. It will live forever. And yet it's still a mystery what time the photo was taken, what time it was sent to the 2 girls from the party, and what happened in the gaps of the night's timeline. Or even when Debanhi died and how. Although Debanhi's life was tragically cut short, many women are using her case to demand justice for the thousands of women who are still missing. Though she never did graduate from law school, there is solace in the fact that her legacy will live on in the ongoing fight for justice. The haunting photo of her standing on the highway spoke to the tremendous vulnerability and desperation of the 18-year-old law student. It helped spark an immediate investigation in her case and a potential shift in the gender violence crisis in Mexico. And hopefully, this shift will prevent a younger generation from growing up in fear.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes. Los saludamos el día de hoy, un día muy especial, 14 de febrero, un día especial porque también este día nosotros lo...
In the meantime, Debanhi's parents are using their daughter's Instagram page to provide the latest updates on her case, with the most recent update from February 15th, 2023. The account has nearly 500,000 followers. And as we wrap up today's case coverage, we ask that you, our listeners, share Debanhi's story, which is a similar story to so many women in Mexico. Say her name and join us in pushing for justice in her case, as well as the thousands of women still missing and the women whose fate is yet unknown.
If you haven't seen the photo of Debanhi that we referred to throughout this podcast, or maybe don't remember, we'll share it on our Instagram page at The Murder Diaries Pod. Make sure to follow us there and at The Murder Diaries Pod on TikTok. And you can reach us at themurderdiariespodrequest@gmail.com. Until then,
stay safe.
Bye.
The search for truth never ends. Introducing June's Journey, a hidden object mobile game with a captivating story. Connect with friends, explore the roaring 20s, and enjoy thrilling activities and challenges while supporting environmental causes. After 7 years, the adventure continues with our immersive travels feature. Explore distant cultures and engage in exciting experiences. There's always something new to discover. Are you ready? Download June's Journey now on Android or iOS.